In 1997, Italy started to produce this bimetallic 1,000 lira coin. This was a precursor to the European Union, where this coin from Italy shows a map of Europe on the back. However, it had a problem. They had an old border for Germany highlighted on this map, where Germany was still split as West Germany. Because of that mistake, this coin wasn't produced very long, and then there was a fixed map of Europe coin that was released later in 1997 that continued for about 3 or 4 more years. This version of the coin is not rare enough to get a huge premium over the other version of the coin, but it still is worth $1 and has a catalog number of KM 190. Today is video 3 out of 3 of a recent series of videos of coins that I picked up from my favorite coin shop, and this is probably my favorite visit of all time based on the coins that I got out of the 25-cent bin. I ended up buying 128 coins out of the 25-cent bin. That's the most I've ever picked up, and I've got some really good value. So as we go along through this video, I'm going to keep a running tally of the book value of everything that I picked up that we're going to look at in this video, but also the coins that we looked in the previous 2 videos and some stuff that I'm not going to feature in this video that I also purchased. We've also got some banknotes at the very end, so we're going to keep a running tally, and even the running tally is the best I've ever had. We're going to move to Vatican City. This coin was made during the term of Pius XII as Pope, or Pontifex Maximus, as it's written on here. It also gives the year of his term as Pope, so it's anno, or year 4 of Pius XII. So all of the circulating coins while he was Pope have this design. It's dated 1942. This is a stainless steel coin. We flip it over. It has essentially Vatican City written around the edges here. This one is a 50 centesimi coin, and I don't know that I had any Vatican coins of a value smaller than 1 lira. So I thought that was interesting. This is also made out of stainless steel, and as it turns out, this year was also a key date. So most years they made this from 1942 to 1946. There was one, I have it backwards. This is not the key date. There were 180,000 made this year. It's the other days, the later years, that only 1,000 of each were made. So this is KM 34, and it books for $4.50. And part of that is I don't even know if I had anything less than 1 lira. If I did, maybe it was from Papal States, but not as Vatican City. We'll move on to the 2 lira, which has essentially the same look to it. This one is, it's almost identical in every way. This one, but a lot larger. So maybe we can see the details to it. This one is a little bit more well worn, but I'm not even sure what all the symbolism on here represents. Really, the only biggest difference I can tell is the L2 for 2 lira at the very bottom. This one's KM 36, and it books for $1.75. Later on, they made the same 2 lira in a smaller, reduced size out of aluminum. That's what we have here. So it's still Pius XII, but on this side it says it's year 11, and it has a date of 1949. The last one was 42. But still essentially the same design. This is the one that was a key date, as there are only 10,000 of these made. And for that reason, KM41 here has a book value of $4. Several countries made coins with a Liberty head design. This one's going to be from Brazil. Back when they were on the race. Republica of the United States of Brazil, dated 1921. This is coin KM 520, and it books for $1.75. Here we have an older coin from the first year of Brazil as a republic. 100 race. This coin was made in 1889. Unfortunately, this one is pretty well worn, and whatever was in the middle here, if it was anything, doesn't show up very well. But you can see the stars pattern inside the circle that are similar to the Brazilian flag. And I will note that the Republic of Brazil is also dated on here. The Republic started November 15th of 1889, and this coin was minted in 1889. So they really got on the ball with this and produced lots of coins that year. This one's so well worn that it doesn't have that good of a book value, but its catalog number KM 492. Now we're going to move to a modern coin from Brazil. This is the modern look of the 1 real. This one is a 1-year circulating commemorative coin. Featuring the centennial of the birth of Juscelino Kubitschek. He was probably best known for being the president who created the city of Brasilia to be Brazil's capital. Now, in part 1 of this series, I had a coin that featured a map of the city of Brasilia on a Brazilian coin. So this coin is catalog KM 656 and books for $1. Here is a tiny coin from the Soviet Union. It didn't last very long, and it's old enough that it has pretty good value. It's a 1 kopeck from 1931. Catalog number on this one is Y91. As I drop it, let's pick that back up. Trying to hold it close enough to the camera here. This side's in really good condition, although the other side looked like it had been cleaned, unfortunately. If this was not cleaned, I would put this coin in this condition with a book value of $10, but I'm writing down $3 instead. This side looks really nice, but this is the side that makes me think it's been cleaned. Here's a coin that took me a little while to identify. But this design is going to be something from Afghanistan. The value of this coin is a 25 pul. Catalog number on this one is KM 941. We flip it over, it has a lot of Arabic writing on this side. Or do I even have it right side up? I forgot which side was up on this one. I think this side is up. So this side is essentially says King Muhammad Zahir Shah, who was the ruler at the time. There's a date on here. They used the Persian Arabic calendar, which was different than the Arabic calendar most people in Afghanistan were using. Has a date of 1331, which in our calendar is 1952. Eventually, this coin is made out of bronze. Oh, here's our date right here of 1331. This coin's made out of bronze. It was later The same design was made out of nickel-clad steel and reeded. This one has a plain edge, and the nickel-clad steel was originally reeded and then went back to a plain edge. Not much of a value to this one, but I didn't have it. We have one other Afghanistan coin here. This one has a date of 1340 that goes across the bottom. So our calendar, that is 1961. This coin is catalog number KM 953. And a denomination of 1 Afghani. That is the currency they were using. Now we're going to move to North America, in a country that was controlled by the British. So we have this portrait of George VI. Newfoundland. So eventually that became part of Canada, but at this time it was still an independent country from Canada, but of course still ruled by the British. This is the 1 cent from 1942. They had large cents until George VI was the king. This coin features a pitcher plant, which is like the Venus flytrap. It's one of those plants that can actually eat small insects. So they started to produce this coin in 1938. It was made at the Royal Mint in London. And then starting in 1940, they were worried that the coins that were minted could be lost during a transatlantic ship journey. So they decided to start making these coins in Ottawa. Since that was Canada at the time and Newfoundland was not part of Canada, they put a C mint mark on this coin. But in the year of 1942, they forgot to add the C mint mark on here. So it's not, that doesn't make it rare, it just makes it kind of an interesting footnote. So the catalog number of this one is KM18, and I'm saying this coin has a value of $2.50, but it's hard to find in some of the upper grades. The Mint State 60 version of this coin would have a book value of $40. So you can tell me if you think this is close to Mint State 60. This next coin has a lot to unpack. So have you ever seen a coin from Skipney? That's what the rest of the world calls Albania, but they call themselves Skipney. At least they did at this time in 1940. Later on, their coins called themselves Skiperi. But this is a coin from Albania, dated 1940. We flip it over. And we have Italian Vittorio Emanuele III on here. So originally when I got to this coin, I was going to say, oh yeah, this is when the Italians were running Albania, like that's common knowledge, like everybody knows that. I didn't know that until I got this coin. And so maybe all of you knew it, because people who collect coins are probably a pretty intelligent bunch, I would assume we all are. But this is something that they didn't teach us Albanian history when I was in school. Maybe it was brought up some with the World War II, but this is not something I knew anything about. I didn't know there were coins out there that had the Italians controlling Albania, but I've learned that because of finding this coin. This coin is made out of aluminum bronze. Now, unfortunately, this coin has been cleaned. I'm pretty sure, because anytime you see where the raised surfaces are shiny and the recessed surfaces are dark, that means that it's clean. And in fact, I think this specific coin was tumble cleaned, where the coin was put in a rock tumbler. And so in one sense, I think it gives it a pretty look, so I'm not going to be in a hurry to replace it. But it's a different kind of cleaning than you normally see. There's some other things I want to point out on here, that just like the Italian coins of the time, there is the year of the reign of Vittorio Emanuele III right here. It's year 13 in 1940. I wanted to point that out. Also, the value of this coin is So Albania, they use a comma, whereas in the United States, we grew up with a period as a decimal point. So this is 0.05 of a lek. So their currency is the lek there in Albania. But before the Italians took over, the fraction of a lek was called a kindar laku. And so 100 kindar laku made up one lek. And so I guess for whatever reason, someone whose job it was to determine this decided that they didn't want to call this a 5 kindar laku, and instead wanted to call this 0.05 of a lek. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then something else to point out here. So this coin was, for the benefit of both the Italian audience and the Albanian audience, it has essentially the words king and emperor written in two different languages on here. So this translates to king and emperor, king and emperor. So it's a shame that this one was cleaned, even though it kind of looks a little bit pretty. I'm going to say this one has a book value of $1.50, but it would have been certainly a lot more if it was not cleaned. But thankfully, that's not the only coin that I got from Shqipni that was Italian controlled. Here's one from 1941. This one has Year of the Emperor 19 on here. So did I say 13 on the last one? I guess I would have meant 18. So this is year 19. So this one is a 0.20 lek. The last one was aluminum bronze. This one is, I think it's stainless steel, because the Italian coins at the time were also stainless steel. So we have a different portrait of Vittorio Emanuele III here. This time he's wearing a helmet. And of particular note, I think it's interesting that he is wearing a helmet that has part of the eagle logo on the helmet right there. I thought that was an interesting detail. But it still has the King and Emperor written twice on this side. Both of them have a relatively small mintage of 1.4 million. The last one had a Rome mint mark, but I don't believe this one does. This coin is stainless steel and it's magnetic, so it's going to stick to my magnet. There are versions in 1939 that do not stick to a magnet, that carry a premium. They would be non-magnetic. So the last one is KM27. This one is KM29. I'm going to say this one has a book value of $2. For a while, I would pick up the 100 pesetas every time that, from Spain, every time that I would find it. But I got so many of them that I don't think it's that valuable anymore. But I'll still do that with the 200 pesetas because I don't find that nearly as often. Now, some later years, they had a better design, but I still like the design of this one a little bit. So we flip it over. We've got Juan Carlos I. So this was made in 1987. They only made this as the circulating 200 pesetas from 1986 to 88. The catalog number here is KM 829. And when they switched over to the euro, it was about 166 pesetas to the euro. So this would have been worth about 1.2 euro. And they gave you until 2021 to cash these in. So someone could have done that, but didn't. This one's going to have a book value of $2. We're going to move to a circulating commemorative coin from East Germany. So kind of plain for a circulating commemorative, but this is a 5-mark coin from 1969. And so it doesn't have a lot on here. We have Roman numeral for 20, year. So it's the 20th year of the DDR, which is the Deutsche Democrat Republic of East Germany. So most East German coins have this compass and wheat design in the middle of it. This one also has different metal varieties, but this nickel bronze version is the most, by far the most common variety. This one is a catalog number KM22.1. On the edge here, it has 5 mark and then a star repeated as you go around it. There is another rare variety where they put the letters of a Mongolian coin. Whoever minted that put some of these in mistake, so there's a Mongolian version of this coin. So that's also a rare variety, but this coin books for $1. This coin's in rough shape, but it still has a pretty good value to it. So this is from the Netherlands, dated 1903. It's got the Netherlands privy marks on either side of the date. It is a 2.5 cent coin. Catalog number is KM134. So this version of the coin was short-lived from 1903 to 1906. The next version of this coin had larger letters, and it's easier to recognize because the gap between the words was smaller. So there's a bigger gap on this version and a smaller gap on the next version, which lasted maybe about 20 years or so. If you found this one in uncirculated condition, it would be worth $30. So in this rough shape, it's worth $2. So as I've been talking about my favorite coin shop, they have, about a year ago, they brought in a new guy who is a foreign expert. And so the good news is they have a lot more foreign coins to display. The bad news is it's harder to find any silver coins actually in the 25-cent bin. I had not found one in the year that he'd been working there until this one, and I didn't even realize it's a silver coin. Now it's kind of grimy, but this actually is a silver coin. It's so grimy that I'm only going to say it's worth the spot price, but this is from Iraq, and this was a 20 fils. It has our date of 1938, the Arabic date of 1357. It's a 1-year coin featuring King Ghazi I. It's 50% silver, so it has a silver weight of 0.0579. Which is roughly $1.75 today, the day that I'm recording it. This was made at the Royal Mint in London, but there's also a version that has the letter I about right here that would have been made, that I would have stood for India, so that version of the coin would have been made in Bombay. This is coin KM106. This is one of those coins that looks prettier when I hold it in my hand, where you can see all of the scratches in the video. But pretty coin from 2014 from New Zealand. This is a 20 cents coin from 2014, catalog number KM118A. So this is a famous Maori carving of the Maori chief Pukaki. So there's a previous version of this coin, version 18, which was a larger size, so this is the reduced size of it. There's a second version of this, which is copper nickel, which is only made for mint sets. And also, this 1 year only, there are two versions. This is the wide date version of 2014. There's also a narrow date version. So this coin's essentially too common to have that good of a book value, but I still like having it. This is a rather new coin. This one is the newer coin from Israel. It's a 2 new shekalim. This side features 2 cornucopias with a pomegranate and some berries in the middle. Here's where it has the number 2. The date is right here. And that date says on the Israeli Jerusalem calendar is 5768. Our calendar, that means 2008. This is catalog number KM433. There are a couple of variations that are not listed in the catalog, and there's 2 ways to tell. First way is to look at the reading. So it's got an area of not readed and then reading. And so this one has kind of a wide reading to it. And if you look closely, it almost gets a circular shape to it. The other version of the coin doesn't have that. There's other things to notice on here. This also is called the thick wheat and thick berries variation. So the rounded reeds, or they call it, instead of reeds, they call it the rounded shoulders. So the rounded shoulder also has larger wheat, larger berries. And so looking at the berries, I couldn't really tell a difference between the two, but I thought the best way to tell between the two, which was the larger wheat, was to look over here, and you cannot see, you really can't see the stem of this wheat as it goes kind of inside the cornucopia like you can on the right side. You can see the stem on the right side. So on the thin wheat variety, you can actually see the stalk easier on that side. But I thought it was easier to tell by looking at the reading. That coin books for $1. Now we're going to move to a coin from Bulgaria. During the Tsardom of Bulgaria. So this is a design for when King Boris III ruled over Bulgaria. So one of the countries that uses Cyrillic, and across the bottom essentially has their motto of unity makes strength. We flip this one over. It has a value of 1 lev, and a date of 1925. Below the date is a lightning bolt mint mark, which was the mint mark of the Poissy mint in France. If that mint mark was not there, then it would have been made in Brussels. This coin was only made in 1925. Its catalog number KM37. However, there is a iron version made for only 1 year in 1941. In the first video of this three-part series, I ended up with a small coin from Panama, and I made the note that sometimes it's the tiny old coins that get overlooked by collectors as sometimes having the better values. So I purposely saved looking up this coin the last because going in, I assumed this coin was going to have the best value to it. This is going to be a coin that has the portrait of Queen Victoria on it. And as you can see, it's very decent shape for the older portrait of Queen Victoria. You can see how she's got kind of a tiara that goes through her hair. But it's quite a tiny coin. It's from Ceylon, and it is a quarter of a cent, dated 1901. Catalog number here is KM90. This was the last year of the quarter cent. These were made sporadically between 1870 to 1901. This year there were 216,000 of these made. We've got a palm tree here on the back. As it's written in a couple of different languages, there we've got the 1 quarter written numerically on that side. Then also, if you look at the base of her neck, there are a couple of initials written into her neck. See if I can get it to focus on that. There, I think we can see it now. A couple of initials. CW, that was the engraver of the portrait of Victoria here. So I was right. This coin books for $10. And I didn't have it, so I was very happy to find that. So in this video so far, we're not done, but in this video so far, we've looked at 21 coins. 15 of them were new to my collection. And at the end of this video, I'm going to add up the book value of everything that I purchased in that one day, but ended up paying $5.25 for everything that we've seen so far. And it had a total book value just in the coins of this video of $41.75. That last coin really helps for sure. But at the end, I'm going to add up everything. I did pick up 4 banknotes on this particular visit, and so we're going to look at those right now. We're going to start with this banknote from Turkey, and this one is a fairly modern one, and I got to zoom out. to see this one better. It's from Turkey. We've got Ataturk on here. This is, I think the first thing that stood out to me are the holograms that appear on the right. So this is a 10 of the new Turk liras, or they call it lirasi, Turk lira. There's not a date on here, but it's from 2017. It has a catalog number of P223C. I mentioned in my last video that I studied math in college, and this note features math. We have Professor Kahit Arth, who lived from 1910 to 1997, and mathematically, we have the ARF invariant function, which, even though I studied math in college, I've never heard of that. Of course, I went to college 25 years ago, so I don't remember hardly any of it, but there is going to be an Ataturk watermark with the number 10 right there. And I like the, if you hold it just right, you can see some 10TL written in gold ink that if you hold it up to the light in just the right way. There's also a security stripe through here that has 10TL etched into that you can see if you hold it back. It's got the little circles on it, so that you can't just print these with your printer, that you'll find on a lot of modern notes. The anti-counterfeiting measure. And then if you had a blacklight, unfortunately my blacklight broke, but if you were able to shine a blacklight, it would have 10TL written in really large characters right here. In foreign exchange value, this is worth 28 cents in the United States. Our next banknote is from the Bahamas when it was still under control of the British, so we have Queen Elizabeth on here. This is a $1 note. There is not a date anywhere on here, but you can tell from the one signature that appears on here. Older versions had two signatures, but this year it only had the one signature of Donaldson on here, which means this was made in 1974. This note has a catalog number of P35. And the Bahamas money is pegged to American money, so this is worth $1 in foreign exchange value. There is also a watermark of a shellfish shell on here. We flipped this one over, and I thought this was a really colorful scene. Now, I wish I had it in better condition, but I really like the underwater scene. So a very colorful look on here. And then, as a coin collector, I recognize the symbol here, which also appears on some of the Bahamas coins. As a coin collector, sometimes I'll find a banknote that has a coin on it. That's what we have here. This is a banknote from Greece, but it has a picture of a coin. The picture is, the value of this coin was called a decadrachm, used in Syracuse. It features the nymph Arethusa, surrounded by 4 dolphins. These coins were made out of silver around the year 400 BC. Let's zoom back out a little bit and take a look at this note. So this happens... This was made during World War II when Greece was Axis occupied. So we have 5 million drachma on this note. It was only produced in 1944. You can see the date right there. There's 4 versions of this coin, this note. So there's the large and the small serial number version. This is the large version. And both of those have 2 versions where the prefix comes later or before. So this one is catalog P128B. We turn this one over and it just has 5 million. Then the number 5 right here has essentially the word 5 million written on top of the 5. Here's our fourth and final banknote. 2 of these banknotes cost $1 and 2 of them cost $2. I just don't remember which were which, so I paid a total of $6 or more for these 4 banknotes than I paid for all the coins. But we've got this note from Tanzania. Another one that doesn't have a date on it, but it was produced in 1997. It's a 500 shillingi. And I like it because I like the giraffe that is on here. But it also features a zebra. We flip this one over and it features 5 people harvesting cloves, as well as this lady who is sitting working with a basket. It also has a watermark of a giraffe right there. And the catalog number on this one is P30. And in foreign exchange value, this is worth in the United States 20 cents. So let's take a moment and add up the book value of everything that I got from the coin dealer on this day. So these are the coins that we looked at in these video, and all of these cost 25 cents each. And the coins of today's video, I mentioned it earlier, these all booked for $41.75. Video 2 had $6. I paid $6 for these coins. They had a book value of $42.85. Another 24 coins from Video 1. Paid $6 for these. And this one had a book value of $49.35. And this whole time, I'm not including the 2 coins that I got out of the case, where they were made out of silver. So I paid 20 for this one, 38 for this one. So it's not like I'm robbing the coin store or anything like that. But I wanted to at least show off very briefly. These are all the coins that I also purchased that day. That I want to show you every single coin that I purchased, but everything here is something that I have talked about in another video in the not so long ago. I did make a separate video of these 2 Isle of Man Christmas coins, so that was part of it. Some of these are coins that had a pretty good foreign exchange value, like this 5 mark from Germany. Some of them are coins that had a pretty good book value, like this Greek 10 drachma, or this 5 rand right here. There are some circulating commemoratives, but as much as I wanted to talk about all these coins, I've already talked about all these coins in another video here lately. So as it turns out, or a couple of these were even, I got 2 of these from Denmark, and that had a pretty good foreign exchange value. So as it turns out, all of the coins in this pile that I've just put in front of us had a total book value of $88 just in those. So when you add this and the bag from video 1, the bag from video 2, and the bag from video 3, everything adds up to $222. And so you can see why I was just blown away from that. I ended up paying $33 just for all of these coins, but there's 132 coins right there. So I love my coin shop, and now I want to go back. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I know I'm not going to be able to turn around and sell these for $222, not even that, but the coins that I did purchase that I don't need, and many of these are going to my collection, and many of these are going to be upgrading coins already in my collection, but if I have anything for sale, I do list it in the comments below, usually on eBay. So until next time, I'll catch you in the next video where I've purchased some other things that I want to show off. Until then, bye.